Hi, me again on my my very small YouTube channel, the world's worst produced YouTube channel ever. Um, Also known as middle-aged woman ranting in her living room. Uh, in our little series here, we've been talking about indirect characterization. And indirect characterization deals with a character's appearance and a character's thoughts and a character's actions and a character's words and what other characters think about them. Now, this is the fourth in the little series, and we're going to talk about a character's words. Hydration. And I'm going to start with a quote by T.S. Eliot, who basically, what I know of T.S. Eliot is basically that he wrote Cats. And other than that, not really my favorite poet, but I really do like this quote. It's strange that words are so inadequate, yet, like an asthmatic struggling for breath, so the lover must struggle for words. And that is very, very, very true for a lot of writing and a lot of characterization and a lot of human interaction, that we take offense to a person's words immediately without even looking to see what they mean. We judge a person on their words without taking a deeper look at who they are or what their motivations are, or again, what those words mean in the greater context of what is going on. So words are very, very tricky. A character's dialogue cannot be the one thing we depend on in order to evaluate a character. They tell us who they are, but not always how we think they do. And for the not always how they think they do, and I realize I'm reaching for the movie version of Sense and Sensibility, but the moment when Mr. Willoughby introduces himself to us, his words are big and they're romantic and they're full of inherent meaning, but at the same time, they are too smooth. And I have an inherent suspicion of anything that is too smooth. So if your romantic character's words are too smooth, you need to take a look at all of those other things, because words is where we fail. Being articulate and our communication, this is where human beings fail on a large scale. We've never been able to take words, these little tiny building blocks, and share the same brain. Okay, communication is one of our biggest conflicts. I do an entire thing on the 6 areas of conflict, and communication is one of our worst problems. So words are going to be tricky. People are going to misunderstand each other. We are going to, or heroes or heroines are going to misjudge each other based upon their words alone. Okay? There are a lot of human reasons for us to not say exactly what we think and to not be as explicit enough to make it understood. There are a lot of ways for what we say and do to become misinterpreted. A character's words, in order to create a complete character, need to be contrasted with their appearance, their thoughts, their actions, in order to be truly evaluated. Okay. And as I have been doing, I have some literary examples. The first of which is one of mine. I have a character named Corey, and she swears up a storm, calls herself a big fat bitch, and she can be grumpy as hell. And I like her. One of the first things we see Corey do is look at a couple of young were-creatures. It is a paranormal after all. And instead of seeing broke, destitute drug addicts, she sees a guy who brings in his last pennies to buy the $1 rose at the gas station for his girlfriend. And that is an action that speaks louder than words. So it doesn't matter that these guys don't look wholesome. It doesn't matter that they don't talk to her necessarily. What matters is that she sees him put his all into making his beloved happy. And that is one of those moments where Mitch's actions speak louder than words. But Corey's thoughts, her emotional reaction to what Mitch is doing, speaks louder than all the time she's short and bitchy with the idiots who walk into the gas station. She has a big heart. She just hasn't had a chance to show it. Okay. On a broader scale, Sidney Carton from A Tale of Two Cities looks hungover, talks frequently about his own debauchery, managed to piss off about everybody he talks to. He is snide about himself and others. But he's smart enough to save himself, or to save Charles Darnay from prosecution at the very beginning. Okay? He visits the Darnay family from the very beginning. At one point in time, he tells Lucy, before Charles Darnay comes to talk to her and ask her hand in marriage, and Charles Darnay is the whole package. He's cute, he's smart, he's hardworking, he's got a heart of gold, does not drink too much, does not bang everything that moves. Okay, but Sidney Carton comes and tells Lucy, I love you. And I am not good enough for you. I will never be good enough for you. I need you to know that I love you. Oh. Talk about rip your heart out. Because those words, contrasted with everything else that he has done and said, make us realize the complete extent of his sincerity. He does not expect her love in return. What he gets is her friendship, and her eternal friendship. There is a moment, and this is not, you don't see this a lot in the movies. In the movies, you see Lucy Darnay has a daughter. In the book, they have a son, and the son passes away of a childhood fever, and his last words are, watch out for Sidney Carton, he needs us. Okay? So the depths of brokenness in this character cannot be plumbed by modern technology. And we all know the ending. In the end, for all of the terrible things he says, for his appearance, for all of the all of the random women he bangs, all of the alcohol he drinks, he gives his life for Charles Darnay to save Lucy Manette and her family at the end of the book. Okay. Now, this thing with words can also be used for satire. And the clearest example that I can give you, and the book is very, very different than the movie, so I'm going to be using the movie for the example, is Forrest Gump. When Forrest Gump makes a broad proclamation, okay, oh gosh, and of course, my example escapes me, as it always does when I sit in front of my phone and blather. When Forrest Gump makes a proclamation, it is almost always followed by a visual representation of what is going on. And we realize that Forrest Gump's words do not convey the entirety of the meaning of that moment. So when Forrest Gump's mother names him Forrest after a leader of the Ku Klux Klan, and then tells him it's to remind her that people do things that are completely unexplainable. That works on a couple of levels. One is the Ku Klux Klan is unexplainable because racism, bad. The other is obviously her affair with Forrest's father was completely unexplainable. Things that she just didn't want to think about. And that's why she named him Forrest. So, okay. His words contrasted with what we know of the entire situation. That is some savagery right there. And another example of how words do not always tell the entire story. All right. And on a human note, when we are describing characters from, and just contrasting their words, one of the things things I have used in the past to explain this to my students and to my children is I will pick up my chubby dog who gets walked every day, who follows me everywhere, who is spoiled for attention, and say, "What are you doing? You don't know anything. You're a dog. Nobody loves you. Nobody cares. What are you asking me for? You asking me for pets? Nobody cares." And while I'm saying this, and the words themselves sound very cruel, nobody loves you, I'm spoiling the crap out of the dog. And we can use words in their opposite for satire, for humor, and to get at the truth in a very sideways way. It's almost like looking through a mirror world where things are completely reversed. It all depends on how we use our words. So be careful about what the things a character says, because a character's words can lie to you, or they can tell you the severest truth, but not in the way you expected them to. Indirect characterization. Dialogue.